Welcome to Generations of Game.
Crowd roar.
He's cringing. That's cringe. That's so cringe. Yeah, I got a little reaction there. That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good one. I'll keep that energy going through the whole show. All right, this show, Generations of Game, episode 6, you guys. I love this. This is our like Friday tradition. Got Uncle Andrew here. We're gonna be talking baseball. Now I'm telling everyone right off the bat, Davis is wearing his Dodgers blue, and I'll be talking some Dodgers. I'm basically taking the Dodgers off season, and Andrew's taking the rest of the league.
Because that's about even.
So we're pretty much split 50-50, I think, when it comes to the amount of trades and moves that have happened this offseason. So we're going to talk about that a little bit for this one. Do we want to Super Bowl predictions, or are we like most of the other rest of the country saying we're ready for baseball season?
Yeah.
We're ready for baseball season, right? But you got the Eagles. You had the Eagles in Pickets. You had them winning it all. So you sticking with the Eagles over the Chiefs?
Stupid line.
Yeah, I had the Lions.
Okay, but the Commanders were going off.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. You still got the Eagles, though, yeah?
Yeah, he's Saquon Barkley.
Okay. All right. Just double checking because you whooped my butt.
Yeah.
In the
I already won.
He already won no matter what happens. He already won.
And I'm just going to throw this out there for all of the pre-Super Bowl era naysayers. The Green Bay Packers went back to back to back in 29, 30, and 31, and also 66, 67, and 68, including Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II. So I don't care what you have to say about the three-peat. The Packers have done it twice.
They have three-peated. And even if you don't want the into the 20s and all that, they three-peated to start the NFL season, like the start the NFL Super Bowl run. Like there was no difference in Super Bowl 0.
Is that all of their Super Bowl?
Right? Like nothing truly different happened. So yeah, I'm with you, man. The Packers are the first three-peat. We'll give it to them, right?
I don't know.
All right. That was our football touch, but we're talking baseball for sure. We're going to talk some off-season moves. We're going to talk what's the dates? Pitchers and catchers.
Pitchers and catchers, February 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Whoo, it's baseball season.
The Dodgers and the Cubs might be reporting earlier though, because they are opening up the season in the Japan series.
Let's start there. Let's start Japan series because for our team, the Dodgers, I mean, the breakthrough into Japan has been unbelievable. The amount of interest, I thought we were already peak. I thought Hideo Nomo coming to the Dodgers was when we got the Japanese market. Clearly not when you saw what happened with Shohei Ohtani, especially. Like that guy, let me ask this first. Is he the first truly international superstar of baseball?
I don't know. I mean,
there's a couple guys who could be on the list.
I think we have to talk about new Hall of Famer Ichiro.
Oh, okay. More Japanese stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So the one guy who didn't vote him in, what do we think about him? He was all but one vote.
What?
All but one guy. 366 people or something voted for him for the Hall of Fame. And just one guy didn't vote for him for the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that guy? Not voting in Ichiro Suzuki.
You need to leave.
Yeah, you are uninvited to the party. I heard Ichiro say something like that he wanted to have a drink with the guy and sit down and talk with him.
Yep.
I was like,
you're cooked.
Is that a really subtle, like Japanese,
you're cooked,
non-confrontational way to say I'm going to take you out back and eat you like a rug?
Yeah. He was like, I want to have a beer with the guy.
All right. What are your thoughts, Andrew? Ichiro Suzuki obviously should have been unanimous. You're okay with him not being unanimous? What do you think about how it went down?
No, he absolutely should have been unanimous. I mean, I don't know if the voter was a Mariano Rivera fan and didn't want to vote Ichiro in unanimous for that reason. I don't know if he was an old school traditionalist and wanted to look at all of the greats that got in that didn't get in unanimously. I don't know who the person was. I don't know that anybody does yet, but I can't fathom it.
Yeah, I mean, you take his Japanese career, he's got 2 Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah.
Like, really. And you see with the Negro League stats being entered into record in the Major League Baseballs, right? So we saw some of that coming through. Now that we're seeing the level of talent out of Japan, somebody tells me that they're going to start to institute some of those numbers into record when it comes to these guys making the transition over, 4, 5, 6, 7 years into their professional careers. I'd be open to it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I have
Good.
Good.
Very good.
Thumbs up.
Very good. Very, very possible.
I think it makes sense. I mean, listen, I think if you look at the World Baseball Classic, I think Japan has to be the odds-on favorite to win the next one. Anybody that says that Japan is a minor league for Major League Baseball is an idiot at this point.
Yeah.
The talent level is just way too high.
Way too high. And consistent, and now we're just seeing more and more and more of it. And well, they can't hit for power. Then, Matsui, somebody like that comes over, and then now Shohei, what he's doing. Okay, well, maybe some pitching, but they're just finesse pitchers. They don't have power pitchers as well. Well, now Roki Sasaki is throwing over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have power. These guys can hurl the ball,
And I also think there is something to be said for the finesse. I mean, think about the guys, and I think we can kind of combine both the Nippon Baseball League and the KBO. But think about the American players that go over there, refine their pitching, figure out how to throw a changeup where maybe they were just raw power pitchers and couldn't make it in the majors. And then they come back, and these guys are getting signed, and they're having strong careers.
Yeah. Now it becomes a timing thing for them to be able to get that, like, be able to go over to Japan or KBO sooner in their careers, not once they can't cut it in the Major League Baseball. You might see a path where guys are going from college, going from single A and saying, I'm going to go over and play abroad now, and then be able to work my way back, reverse that pipeline a little bit. I think you'll definitely see something like that. Why not? Like, why not? There's different roads to get to the show, I think, now than there's ever been before.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've got, if I remember correctly, Cardinals pitcher Miles Miklos, I believe that was his path.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of those pitchers is getting to be a bigger number.
Yep. Agree with that. All right. What else is going on in Japan? Oh, so you mentioned the Dodgers and the Cubs series. Now, Cubs got a couple Japanese players too, so this has got a lot of intrigue going.
Yep. Imanaga on the mound. I'm sure that he'll pitch one of those games. Suzuki in the outfield, or at least a DH. Another player where you're like, I mean, the guy's 25 to 30 home run power for sure, so they can mash.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and just again how the game continues to evolve. That's the biggest thing for me. Is we talk about, Andrew and I, a lot, how the game of baseball, gets stuck more often than other sports. I think because it has such an American pastime, it's got such a legacy that it's slower to move and change and evolve. And I think even here with Davis, he definitely is feeling the least knowledgeable when it comes to baseball, because baseball is confusing as hell. Like, it is not a simple game to understand when you want to be at that like elite fandom level, whereas football and basketball have made it easier. Their players are more accessible through social media, and they have more individual brands and all of these pieces that I think baseball is still a little bit behind. So going out to Japan and showcasing that game internationally and building up those brand names of those Japanese players, because they're going to draw so much attention in those local markets, and then being able to showcase that to an American audience, to me, is one of the more impactful things. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. And I think even just again the way they're selecting the teams of having the Padres and the Dodgers, and then having the Dodgers and the Cubs, where these teams are already on their rosters investing in players from those markets.
Yep.
To me makes a lot of sense, and I think is good for the game of baseball. So, all right, where should we go from here, Andrew?
Well, just to go back in terms of the complexity of the game, remember, if you watch Bull Durham, baseball's a very simple game. You throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball.
Yes. And then you get lost in OBS, OPS, WAR, and on and on and on with stats. Davis wishes there was more people got in pickles more in baseball.
I mean, it's a great play to watch, as well as the triple. There aren't enough triples.
There are not enough triples.
What are triples?
Triples. You hit the ball and you get to third base. A triple. There's not enough triples. Too many singles and home runs in this game.
Yes.
It's a single or a home run.
You have to have some blazing speed or hit the ball where they ain't to get a triple.
You got to bounce it off a wall, because every single wall is completely different. It's such a weird thing about baseball too. How often that would have been a home run in 22 parks,
right? I wonder if because of the way Fenway's built, there are more triples in Fenway. I mean, you can't look at it historically, right? Because Fenway is the oldest stadium in use.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because of that right field wall jutting out, if there are more triples there than anywhere else.
That's got to be. And it's a hard wall back there, so you get some hard, weird ricochets off the ivy too. So that's a big one. All right, do we want to talk about some of the off-season moves that are happening? Should we get into that a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about that. Should we start with the Dodgers, or should we start with the rest of the field? Let's start with the rest of the field. Who do you got? What are some of the storylines that you're paying attention to?
Well, I think obviously, Soto going to the Mets for, a handful of dollars. He got the bag.
I don't know if you know how Davis feels about Soto getting $765 million.
I mean, how many people turn down $400 million and then are almost able to double that?
He played it right. If you're going for a bag, he played it right. For the rest of baseball, like going to the Yankees for a season, trying to go win a chip, got that close, then just said straight up, I'm a mercenary. I'm going to go to the highest bidder. I don't know. I understand when people get upset about that and think that that's maybe like not the right look for baseball. On the flip side, we're dealing with being the evil empire now, who's spending just a ridiculous amount of money. And are we ruining baseball? And I got some thoughts on that I'll touch on a little bit, but I think Soto is not worth that if Shohei Ohtani is worth $700. And I know it's 15 years versus 10 years, so the per year is different. Shohei is still per year the highest paid guy, and then we have deferred money inside of that. But here's the question that I have, Andrew, is like, I said earlier that is Shohei Ohtani the first true international superstar to this degree that we've ever seen? Maybe outside of soccer, maybe in any sport, definitely in baseball. And one of the reasons is how much money is generated in ad revenue and from Japanese companies, spent on the Dodgers. One, already the money that they've created from ticket sales, from ad revenue, makes Shohei Ohtani's deal a bargain.
Yes.
1 year in, and you won a World Series. So you got tickets, ad revenue, World Series, bargain. Number one. Number two thing that I see happening there that I'm interested, your perspective, if Soto is that pull, is the amount of money that Japanese companies are spending at the opposing field of where the Dodgers are playing, knowing that Shohei Ohtani is going to be there and draw those eyeballs. And so the Dodgers lineup is making money for other teams as well in a way that the Angels never did. So something the Dodgers are doing is changing the landscape and changing the narrative. I don't know that Soto is even the biggest draw of a Dominican player.
I think that there are a couple challenges with Soto. Now, listen, on the positive, he's 26 years old, right? So it's not like he's a 32-year-old signing a 10-year contract or a 15-year contract that's going to, wither away and die. But
Deep.
he is at best an adequate defensive outfielder, and at worst he is a liability.
Okay.
And so you can argue that last year there's no comparison from the point of view that Ohtani only DH'd, but Ohtani's a pitcher. And so that value that the Dodgers are getting just from him as a player can't be replicated by Soto. And I think at this point in his career, he's not going to get any better defensively than he is. If he was going to, he already would have.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not nearly as listen. Nobody's as complete a ball player as Ohtani is, but Soto doesn't measure up.
Yeah, and Soto is ridiculous behind the plate. I mean, he is clearly one of the top assets in the game.
Oh, he may have the best eye in baseball since Ted Williams. I mean, that's possible.
I would agree with that. Like if he doesn't swing at it, it's him or Arise. Like if they don't swing at it, it's probably not a strike, or it's a first pitch because they both love taking the first pitch.
Yeah.
So if it's a pitch after the first pitch from one of those two guys and they're not swinging, umpire is probably incorrect.
I mean, could you imagine if Tony Gwynn had the power that Soto does?
Ooh, I wish. Growing up watching Mr. Padre, I would have loved seeing that. I'll tell you about Tony Gwynn someday.
I still hate that the Yankees let him go.
You don't like that the Yankees let Soto go?
We're going to go win a chip. Oh, we're playing our rival. Oh, we lost. Let's let our second best player go away. Then we'll win a chip. That's a smart idea.
I'm not going to disagree with you, man. They made a lot of moves.
I thought the Yankees were just like not only one of our rivals.
In the World Series,
what are you doing?
In the World Series, they're our biggest rivals. We've lost to them more times than I'd like to admit on this show, on record right now. And if it's it's the Giants in division, and it's for sure our rivals when it comes to that. But look, they made some big moves. They added
Max Fried.
They added Max Fried. They added Devin Williams. They added Cody Bellinger. Those are a couple big moves that they made. What do you think of that? What score might you give them? What grade might you give the Yankees in this offseason, dropping Soto and then the acquisitions they did make?
I think a lot of it hinges overall for a team grade on how Bellinger performs and what his level of flexibility defensively is.
Mm-hmm. I heard officially he's in center field.
Yeah.
Was he a shortstop when he played for us?
First base and outfield.
Yeah. But I think that's where it hinges, right? I mean, I guess whether Max Fried stays healthy or not. I mean, if Max Fried is healthy, you know what you're getting. I mean, Devin Williams is arguably the best closer in baseball. And if he's not the best closer in baseball, he has the best pitch in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is
Clase, maybe he's better. I don't know,
Yeah. I mean, again, worst case scenario, top three, but nobody else can figure out how to throw the airbender. I mean, Williams has even tried to teach pitchers in the Brewers bullpen how to throw it. Nobody can throw it.
Nobody can throw it. Nobody's got an arm like that, though.
Yeah.
What's an airbender?
Yeah, that's his unhittable pitch. What is it?
It's a change up. That's like, yeah.
It's a backdoor slurve changeup fork ball. It's like a mystery pitch.
Just do something more simple.
No, man. And that's why he's the only ones that can throw it. You see that, though. People coming up with all these new pitches, and then you see guys with the going back to some old pitches, seeing more of the knuckle curve coming around. What was the
I want to see somebody come back with the ethos.
Yeah, come on. And not just a position player. But,
right.
Zach Greinke-esque 52 mile an hour.
Yeah.
After an 84 mile an hour fastball. That's how fast Zach Greinke was throwing at the end there. His 84 mile an hour fastball. And then his eephus pitch. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. Well,
Bellinger.
who else you got? What's another storyline that you're paying attention to this offseason?
Bellinger's legit,
I'm
but like dropping Juan Soto.
Yeah, Juan Soto's a big loss, man.
I feel like if they
Do you
had
think
got Bellinger and Soto, that would have been really good.
I don't think they would have acquired Bellinger if they kept Soto.
Yeah, they wouldn't have, because they wouldn't have needed that outfield
Oh,
spot.
true.
Outfield spot filled. I mean, they could have gutted the rest of their, got rid of Verdugo and a bunch of other guys and only had those 3 guys in their outfield. I mean, it'd be a pretty good outfield, but even they
George
aren't
could
doing all
drop
that.
that one balls right in that glove.
Aaron, does Cody Bellinger make that catch?
Yes.
Okay.
But
then I'm happy that he wasn't on the team last year.
here's the thing. I haven't seen Cody Bellinger play a lot, but I don't think he made that. I don't think he could rob that home run.
He's a better defender. I mean,
because he's not as big.
Than Aaron Judge, right?
He's not as big because Cody is smaller, and Aaron Judge took that hit and he almost dropped it alone, being 6'6", 300 something.
Oh, when he went off the fence off of
and
where we at?
Cody is like what 6?
Well, Cody's fast.
Cody's fast. He probably could have.
I think Judge is sometimes underestimated defensively because he is so big, and people can't fathom that a guy that big could be that good. And he's a plus defender.
Yeah, he's definitely a plus defender. I think even from just an outside perspective, I think you give the nod for sure to Bellinger pretty easily over Judge.
Yeah.
But I don't think that means that Judge is deficient in any way. Whereas the argument can be made Soto one way or the other, but Aaron Judge is proficient.
Because Cody Bellinger is better than Judge. Cody Bellinger is amazing.
Yeah.
So being better than Judge, I mean, not that Judge is not that.
And those guys were taking off at the same time, right? It was it was those 2 guys, rookies of the year, MVPs early on. Like they both were, putting up ridiculous most home runs for rookies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those guys were making those kind of runs when he was with the Dodgers. And so that's, to me, here I'll pump this in right now. When I get hit with the Dodgers are ruining baseball,
Oof, go away.
I first say I appreciate that you're giving us so much power that the Dodgers, one single team out of 30 teams, is ruining baseball. But like we have trauma. We have trauma from 2017, 2018, going to back-to-back and getting beat by, cheating scandals. And at that point, I mean, we were homegrown. I mean, it was like, we were back to that level of the 90s where we were producing 5 straight rookies of the year, where we had Jock Peterson, we had Corey Seager, we had Bellinger. Those guys were homegrown guys. And even the ones that weren't homegrown were Justin Turner, Chris Taylor, who were discarded by other teams, and then they were huge contributors. And on the pitching side, I mean, Kershaw and Jansen and even we had guys going deep like Ross Stripling and Kenta Maeda that were homegrown. And so the Dodgers have been developing people for a long, long time, still spending money, but not like this.
Shohei Ohtani is actually ruining baseball.
Oh, you think he's ruining baseball?
Well, how people say the Dodgers are ruining baseball, they're like, how people say the Dodgers are ruining baseball, they're actually saying they're so good. I'm a Red Sox fan, and they suck. So I'm mad at the Dodgers fans, who are my rival's rival. So I'm going to go and be mad at them when I know Shohei Ohtani is the person to be mad at. But I'm mad at the Dodgers.
Well, think about this, too. I mean, the Yankees were the evil empire for so long. They were ruining baseball. When was the last time they won the World Series?
Yeah, 2009.
Right? And so the biggest challenge with baseball is that the NFL shares revenue from a national TV contract that every team, no matter how big or small the market is, shares in. MLB is predicated on a system where teams garner TV revenue from their own markets, right? So the Milwaukee Brewers cannot compete with the TV revenue that the Los Angeles Dodgers generate.
Yeah.
Period. And so it will be interesting to see what transpires as Bally or Diamond Sports or DraftKings, whatever they're calling that broadcast platform this year, because they're in and out of bankruptcy so often. Once they move from that to a pure MLB owned across all platforms, streaming, broadcast, everything, what happens there? But you can talk if you want about how the Dodgers are ruining baseball, but I actually look at it this way. The Dodgers have deferred more money into like 2046 or 2047 than the actual payroll of 7 individual teams. Not 7 teams combined, 7 individual teams' payrolls are less than the dollar amount that the Dodgers have deferred. So my thought process is, well, to get your return on investment, the Dodgers better win the next 5 World Series in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pressure to be under.
Yeah, I was going light. I said they needed to win 4 out of 6 to be able to make it happen. Again, just seeing how clever they've been with the deferred money, and they're at what, 1.4 billion in deferred money, right?
What does that mean?
That means that Shohei Ohtani's contract specifically, 680 million of it is getting paid over the next 10 years past his contract versus during his contract. So we'll be paying him 10 years past his contract, which frees up money today. So the deferred money, I think, is interesting, and I'm hoping and seeing that other teams will start to kind of play around with that a little bit more to identify their windows and be able to capitalize on those moments for them. I think will make a big difference. But one of the things with ownership, with the Guggenheim partners, with Walter and Magic Johnson, Billie Jean King, Peter Guber, Boley, all of those guys, they've really committed to saying we're going all in to invest whatever it takes for the Dodgers, not just to win World Series, but to be truly like an international brand for baseball. And that to me is like an important thing, that whether we like it or not, baseball needs to continue to evolve. And whether other teams like it or not, they're going to have to figure out ways to spend more money. Just the game of baseball being valued at that level is part of what's going to have to happen in baseball. And what you're going to see, I know, is teams like the Brewers, teams like the Rays, that are the most creative teams in baseball, who continuously, year after year, are relevant in the playoffs without being, small market is even an understatement.
Right.
Right. So I know that they're going to get even more creative, and that's going to be good for baseball. So if the Dodgers being bad for baseball creates more creativity within baseball and the way that we play the game of baseball, then I think that's good for baseball, even if we have to be the bad guys to do it. That's what I'm rationalizing to myself, at least, Andrew.
Right. You're making the Dodgers martyrs. That's amazing.
Yeah, we are.
That's a great story to tell.
Yeah. We're like, don't you feel bad for us? But man, I'm telling you, man, after 2017 and 2018, you just tell, and even just like looking back at press conferences and things like that, and what Friedman and Gomes now have done, it's like they're like, we will never be in a position like that again, and we're never going to fall short again. Like, we are going to be the most competitive team in the sport, and selfishly, I'll take that for sure.
Well, and the reality is that when you think about it, with a team that was as good as the Dodgers were last year and still went into the World Series with essentially 3 healthy starters, why wouldn't part of your strategy be that I want 10 or 12 starters that could cycle through the roster over the course of the season, so that you don't have to play a bullpen game in game 4. You can actually throw a starting pitcher and get 5 or 6 innings out of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to have a 12-man rotation for sure. We're going to, can you believe, you'll have guys like Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin like in AAA. You know, OKC is going to have quite like all of a sudden you're going to have quite games when OKC comes to town because they're going to have MLB players on their roster. Like by some design, they're gonna need to play that. All right, let's give people one more off-season storyline. What's something else you're paying attention to, liking or not liking?
I think the one big thing right now is that Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso are still unsigned.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
And
I'm also not surprised. I don't know why those guys. They just felt like something was going to go awry with them.
And I don't know off the top of my head who their agents are. I think that these are both guys who hindsight's 2020, but it looks like they overplayed their hand, overestimated the market.
Yeah.
I've heard that Bregman is close in Detroit, but I have no idea what that's going to look like. And I just wouldn't be shocked because Alonso's already proposed to the Mets, I will do a 3-year contract with 2 opt-outs. And I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up being a 2-year contract with an opt-out and he just tries to get whatever high average annual value he can for this season, bets on himself, and becomes a free agent again. But
that's a big loss for him, though.
Yeah.
The guy you expected to get a big contract, it wasn't going to be Soto level contract, but I was expecting both of those guys to get big contracts, and now both of them could potentially be fighting for their lives over the next 3 years.
Well, and I think part of the conversation with both of them is that they're quote unquote older, right? And this is why Christian Walker ends up with a deal before Alonso does. Although Christian Walker is also a Gold Glove first baseman, so there's that.
A little different.
But I think that other than, the Dodgers who are willing to pay people for 472 years, teams are being much more careful, I think, in 2 different ways. One, with guys like Bregman and Alonso, they don't want to sign those guys to 5 or 7 year deals because they know that the fall off is going to be significant. I think the other thing that I'm seeing this year is that when you're looking at either lower level free agents or players that teams are designating for assignment to make room for other players that they've acquired, if those guys don't have a minor league option remaining, they're having a harder time finding a spot.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a kind of a sign of things to come when it comes to like the way that these things are playing out nowadays?
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, I've got a list, just some guys lower level than obviously Bregman and Alonso that are still unsigned. So you've got your buddy Justin Turner. Now, granted, he's 432 years old.
Yeah, he's been playing forever.
But he can help somebody. Anthony Rizzo is out there. Whit Merrifield, Jose Iglesias, somebody that's looking for a pure DH. JD Martinez is out there. Alex Verdugo is out there. Yoan Moncada from the White Sox, formerly of the White Sox, is out there. Harrison Bader, Randall Grichuk. Jack Flaherty is still unsigned. Kyle Gibson, Andrew Heaney, your boy Clayton Kershaw, who's likely only going to play for the Dodgers or retire, is unsigned. Jose Quintana, who's been a very effective left-handed starter, is out there. David Robinson, Kenley Jansen, Dylan Floro, Craig Kimbrell. I mean, Kimbrell's career is probably over. It was probably over 3 years ago. But there are some guys that, listen, these are not guys that you're going to hang your franchise on, but these are guys who have had success with teams. They've had postseason success, and they can come in as a veteran presence and help teams. There's a lot that's going to happen in the next 10 days.
Yeah, really. I mean, and this is late in the season, so to speak, to be having this many guys when pitchers and catchers are to report coming up here in the next couple weeks. So more to come on that. Did you learn a couple things, Davis?
Yes.
No,
I did.
He did. Okay. That's part of what we do, and that's just part of the fun of it. I mean, I learn stuff from Andrew all the time. We're always challenging each other to kind of figure out new aspects of the sport that are interesting to us that we want to see evolve. players' names and stats and things like that. So
Do you lose on the trivia challenges?
to Andrew, oh yeah. Yeah. Pretty handedly. So don't ever feel bad if you're in one of these shows and it's just like a learning opportunity for you to continue to like elevate your game, man.
The cool thing is
pass us for sure.
When you ask your dad a question about baseball, he doesn't have to Google it. He can just text me.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He is technically Googling it then.
I have to scroll through 3 or 4 articles to find what I'm looking for. If I Google it, I can just text Andrew and get it a lot quicker. Awesome. All right, everyone. That was episode 6. A little long, but a lot to talk about off-season baseball, and more to come next week from Generations of Game. How's that one?
That was a good one.
He's out of here.
I'm going to my friend's house. Don't be mad when I come back at 6:40.
He's going to his friend's house, Andrew. He's out of here. All right, everyone. We're out of here. See ya.